Convicted perjurer Michael Cohen is going to be testifying in the Trump trial. We're waiting until he is called by Alvin Bragg and the Democrats, but there are several motions that have been submitted by Todd Blanche and Trump's defense team trying to limit how this testimony will be presented to the jurors, or more specifically, how full the testimony can be, because they're trying to make Michael Cohen and his convictions related to Trump. They're trying to say he only pled guilty because of Trump, but Trump is wanting to say they're not related at all. And so Trump's defense submitted a filing on that one, also submitted an attempt to preclude the Access Hollywood tapes altogether. Judge Mercan is not going to be granting that, but they're marking this down for the appeals. And of course, Alina, Habba, is in the house, and she is not happy about what's happening there in New York. Now, you may have seen this. Michael Cohen, Trump is under a gag, but Michael Cohen is running his mouth on X. He posted this today. He says, "Hey, Von Poopy Pants, your attacks of me stink of desperation. We are all hoping that you stand and take the stand in your defense," right? This is what Cohen is saying. Trump can't respond to any of this because he's been gagged, right? And so he is just on a tear over there. Michael Cohen's a real piece of something. But Trump is trying to ensure the jury really knows what's happening with Michael Cohen. In fact, this is what they submitted into the court. This is from Todd Blanche, Trump's defense team, sending this in to Judge Mercan. They say, "All right, Judge, listen, we need to have a conversation about Michael Cohen. First of all, Michael Cohen in 2018 took a guilty plea. He agreed that he broke the law, violating federal election law. And we need to address this. We know that he's going to testify, and David Pecker is going to be testifying as well. His testimony is continuing forward. Now, he's going to talk about this non-prosecution agreement, AMI's non-prosecution agreement. Okay, so AMI, they decided not to prosecute him, but they prosecuted Cohen. And so we need to talk about all this. And so we request that we be allowed to introduce these limiting instructions, all right? So Trump is proposing that as soon as Cohen testifies or is done testifying, that we say this, like tell the jury this. President Trump requests this. Okay, Michael Cohen gets done blabbing, lying through his mouth again. He doesn't care if he lies in the middle of court. He apparently did that to a federal judge. So tell the jurors, okay, ladies and gentlemen, you just heard evidence that Michael Cohen pleaded guilty to violating the FECA, Federal Election Campaign Act. Now, that evidence is being offered only to help you assess Cohen's credibility as a witness. Now, Cohen's guilty plea is not evidence of Trump's guilt, and you may not consider it in determining whether Bragg has proven the elements of his case. So they're saying now Cohen pleaded guilty in 2018. That's the federal case from what happened with Pecker. Now, the requested instruction is consistent with this prior ruling, as well as Bragg's representation. They've got no objection to limiting instruction that say that jury can't consider Cohen's guilt. So I guess this is what, in response, Bragg responded with this statement. Let's see how this differs from Trump. So this is Trump's up top, Bragg's down below. Bragg says, as soon as Cohen is done testifying, you should instruct the juror that there has been testimony elicited at this trial concerning Cohen's guilty plea. This evidence was admitted to provide context for his decision to break from Trump and to assist you in assessing Cohen's credibility. You may not consider the guilty plea itself to be evidence of Trump's guilt. Now, during the parties' conferral on this issue, Bragg described their proposal as one that would instruct the jurors about the proper use of the testimony in a fulsome way. However, their proposal actually asked the court to endorse their theory that the salient feature of a guilty plea is a break from President Trump. They say that's unnecessary, and it's unjust for the court to take a position on that. Break free from? What does that even mean? The defense has a very different view of Cohen's decision to do that. We must be permitted to argue that the plea reflects adversely on his credibility, and that the jury must evaluate these arguments without your intervention, Judge. And so you authorized testimony from Pecker about their agreements because Pecker took a non-prosecution deal, and Trump respectfully requests a limiting instruction on that one as well. Don't exceed the scope of the testimony by offering the agreements themselves. Signed by Todd Blanche. Okay, so that's trying to explain or to limit what the jury, make sure the jury is very clear about what they can do with Cohen's testimony. Don't conflate the two. Don't try to say Cohen's guilty, therefore Trump's guilty. It's a pretty significant difference, actually, between the two, but Bragg's making the argument to make it more favorable to his side. So separately, Trump's team also submitted this. Say, we would also like you to keep the Access Hollywood tape out of this trial. They say Trump says we need to preclude this. It is unduly prejudicial, or at least don't allow it in until we hear from Stormy or from Karen McDougal. Why do we need this Access Hollywood tape? The recording was reported to the media on October 7th, 2016. It's clear from the statements on the recording that no one is discussing Stormy or McDougal. This is the Access Hollywood Hollywood Take locker room talk tape. Bragg has characterized the contents of the recording as, quote, an admission to, or at least a description of, an assault of a crime. And in the ruling, the court addressed Trump's objection to this, saying we're going to seek the proper balance on this. The court said that we could elicit testimony about the interview that contained comments of a sexual nature because it might implicate Trump because it shows he feared for his presidential aspirations. Trump's defense continues, they say, on April 15th, Bragg sought clarification. What can we do with this? Now, with respect to other unproven assault allegations, the court correctly reasoned that was very, very prejudicial. You can't say this guy's an assaulter. And so admitting the recording and saying this is evidence of an assault is insane. So the risk of unfair prejudice is also greatly increased, says Todd Blanche, by the fact that Stormy has more recently couched her account in terms we very much dispute. Stormy is now saying this is a non-consensual encounter, right? She got Bergdorf, just like Eugene Carroll did. This is how this is changing yet again. It went from something that never ever happened to something that did happen. Now it's non-consensual. Now she was attacked all of a sudden. Now disclosing the recording's contents to the jury, even in a transcript, would require Trump to address this. Now, on the other hand, in terms of the probative value, is this going to help the jury decide these charges? Bragg indicated that they seek to argue the recording was sent the campaign into a tailspin, and so they can address these arguments. So regardless, Trump respectfully requests that the court adhere to the more restricted scope of the in limine ruling or reserve the decision until after the testimony from this person, redacted. So we don't know who that is. All right, so respectfully submitted by Todd Blanche. So the judge sounds like he's going to be admitting some of that transcript. For what purpose and when it comes in is yet to be seen. But Stormy Daniels, Access Hollywood Tape, they want the jury to be thinking Trump is an assaulter, right? If they can smear him with a Eugene Carroll situation, they'll do it. So Alina, Habba in the house, and she is Trump's attorney, and it looks like she was also there in New York or somewhere nearby, and she was giving her statement and her opinion on what is happening here, saying this is witch hunt after witch hunt.
He should not have two teams of lawyers here today. He should not even be here today because he did nothing wrong. It is the epitome of a witch hunt. I just left where a judge asked us whether our cash, bond, cash, sitting in. Miss James wanted to argue and say that our cash somehow isn't green enough. We wasted time. The judge made a comment saying he thought that money market accounts could go down under the amount. He doesn't even understand basic principles of finance. But this was the man that decided that we owed money and my client committed fraud. We are going to attack every single one. 1 hour, the attorney general and that judge realized quickly that they had no idea what they were talking about. We came to an agreement that everything would be the same. We would modify terms, and that was it. This is where your taxpayer dollars are going, America. Right here. Witch hunt after witch hunt. President Trump's company was worth more in that case than it is now. And now what? We're here because of something that happened when he was in the White House that wasn't even wrong. It was not wrong. You hire lawyers to solve problems, lawyers solve those problems, you pay them. That's it. This is a joke. It's an affront to the American Constitution. It's an affront to our judicial system, and it's an affront to every lawyer that cares about their license, that cares about what is right and wrong. I am sick of coming in front of the press and saying this, but you have to because you people need to understand what is going on. God forbid you put an accounting thing in for legal counsel. And now our taxpayer dollars, my time, our attorney's fees are all here because they're afraid of 2024. And you know what? They should be because the American people are not stupid. They see what's going on. Thank you.
Yeah! Get it, Alina. Man, she's fired up out there today, so she's right. And if the government prosecutes you, it costs you a lot. What does it cost an officer to write an additional ticket? Like nothing, right? It's diminishing returns there, or marginal returns. The point is, you, to defend that, have to come out of pocket. It is insane to defend yourself against that. The state is set up to prosecute. The defense is not. So it is a tactical maneuver. They're trying to bleed Trump dry. They're trying to deflate the entire right and suppress the energy, the enthusiasm, demoralize everybody, and so on. But that's not going to happen, okay? The only thing that they're doing is revealing who they are, their true nature. And it's very nice that we get to see it now and that we have somebody like Trump who can go through this and continue to persevere and march on as this battle continues. And so we're going to be here continuing to cover this, my friends, this trial in depth. Thank you for joining us as we do. Thank you so much for inviting someone you know or love to come over here and join us as we go through the transcripts in great detail and piece together what's going on inside this this very historic trial. We're grateful to have you join us. Thanks for checking out some of the links down in the description below, including watchingthewatchers.locals.com, our members-only community. We have a great community there. We do live streams in the morning where we talk about other things that we can't get to here, like our useless Congress and president and, you know, that fun stuff. We'd love to have you join us. Come say hello. Watchingthewatchers.locals.com. We'll see you over there and back here on the next one.